Alright, hey there fellow YouTubers. This is Ben, Vandwelling in Vancouver, and this is the beach. There's a special story behind this beach here. Let's go back to the beginning. I used to rent out a 3-bedroom basement suite, and I had a little bicycle shop out of it that I used to do seasonally, and that all kind of fell apart when the house got sold and the new owner rent-evicted everybody. And I went to a couple places. I, did a couple, months, like 1 month here, 1 month there, and thought I found a place. In the process of doing this, my uncle, he was renting me a 95 GM propane-powered van, and I was actually able to take my mobile, my bicycle service mobile. And so after having a few rough stints in a few places, by November, my uncle had this thing going on, and we had taken what we needed from the 95 GM to make this thing run, because it had been sitting in Surrey in somebody's driveway for 10 years straight without even being turned over, after somebody put a brand new engine in and drove it 14,000 kilometers and parked it for 10 years straight. And so my uncle was thinking this could replace the GM that was dying, because the engine block was like literally starting to crack apart. It was dead. It was gone. And on the other one. So we took what we needed from that and put it in this and made this thing go. It was pretty rough at first. It took me a while to work out a lot of the kinks. But anyways, in November of 2015, unfortunate circumstances came about. I'd been looking for a place for a month because I couldn't live in the place that I was staying in, that I thought was supposed to be, more permanent, but turned out to be a farce. Anyways, fact is that I had this van. It was running, and by November 1st of 2015, I'd gone through about 30 different interviews to find a place to live, and nobody would take me at all. And so I took my stuff over a couple days in this van in storage out of the place I had to leave, and put it all in storage. And for the first 2 weeks of November of 2000, oh sorry, this is 2016 I'm talking about, not 2015, 2016. This is, no, this is 2015, yeah. November of 2015. Sorry, I'm getting my ears confused. This is 2017. Okay. All right. So 2015 November, the first 2 weeks of November, I actually came out to this spot and stayed here. And it was about as warm as it is now, as you can see now. So for the first 2 weeks, I still checked out places. I had $1,500 in my pocket just waiting to get the right place, and I went through 10 more interviews, nothing. And I mean, I was discriminated against, very discriminated against. I was either too tall or too white, or my income was unsure even though it was proven. I mean, like, even though my references were great, I didn't speak their language, or I wasn't the right culture, or there was all sorts of discrimination going on. And after 2 weeks of driving out here at night and sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes it's sunny. And, you know, basically I came out here because it was as far removed from the city as possible without actually going out, driving a few hours out into the country so that I wasn't, you know, because I don't know, the fact is that in mid-October, a couple friends did suggest that I move into my van, and I was absolutely adamant against it. I would not move into a vehicle. There's no way I'd live in a car or a van or anything else like that. I mean, like that was just too preposterous for me, even when I had this thing going. And so, I mean, like, um, so just the idea of living in a van, like, I was just as socially conditioned as everybody else is, in terms of I was absolutely adamant against it. And for the first 2 weeks, even though I was coming out here and enjoying all this beauty, I mean, like, for the first 2 weeks, um, I just I was absolutely adamant about getting a place to live, about having a house and utilities and a home base kind of thing. I need an extra bedroom so that I can prove that I'm a good father for my son and everything, start having him over for weekends. I mean, I had all this stuff going on. And so for the first 2 weeks of living in this van, I would not accept it. Would not accept the lifestyle. I felt like I was homeless in a way. And after a couple weeks of coming out here, and I had to adapt to the lifestyle during those 2 weeks, like find a bathroom. Um, I only have a porta potty in here. I still haven't gotten the water system working in here. I mean, I've just adapted to to uh, to to different a different way of living. Like I use community centers and gyms and stuff for showers. I use bathrooms all over the place that you just got to discover them. And I mean, there's there's just a whole different way of living like this that I would not accept for a couple weeks, but I had to adapt to it somewhat because I was living it. You're living and you need water. Okay, so I started bringing a 4 liter jug of water in my van everywhere I went. And that allowed me to do what dishes I needed to do and gave me drinking water. It gave me, whatever I needed, right? Well, over time, that just didn't turn out well because of so many water spills, so many jugs being punctured for various reasons. They're flying around the van while I'm driving, and anyways, all sorts of crazy shit. That didn't work out. But anyways, getting on with the story. Getting on. Um, so after 2 weeks, there was a night where I was sitting out here enjoying the beautiful view that I shared with you last night, and thinking to myself, well, self, what if? Just what if? What if? What if we adapted to this lifestyle for a little while? What if? Just what if? We considered this a shelter, a home, our actual home. And with that perception in mind, I looked back out over my view from my home, and I realized I had attained a goal 5 years ahead of its time. I want to own my own home. And I was in the middle of buying this van off of my uncle. I had made some payments. I still owed a lot of money on it at the time. But by December, of 2015, I owned this van outright. And I was able to come back here and look out over this beautiful view and say, yes, I own my own home. And it's a good home. As a matter of fact, it's a home that gives me freedom. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had these wings of freedom where I could go anywhere and do anything that I wanted, that I could possibly conceive of. Now, in order for this dream to take hold into reality, some things needed to happen because this van was still running pretty badly. There were some issues to work out. And you know, I've got all sorts of videos and stuff I'm going to be slowly but surely posting and sharing online in my experiences between December of 2016 and now. But for now, I'm giving you the story of how this all began. And I mean, like, it took me a couple weeks to wrap my brain around the idea of calling this van home. But once I did, I just felt this amazing freedom that I'd never felt before. Just this freedom. It's hard to explain to those who have not tried it. And it's not for everyone. This lifestyle is definitely not for everyone. I mean, there are so many hardships you have to endure in order to be able to live this lifestyle. I mean, you take sustainable living to the utmost when you're living this lifestyle. I mean, I used to when I lived in my 3-bedroom basement suite, I would make up like one large black garbage bag a week in waste, in garbage, and recycling, I mean, even more. Okay, so now in every 10 days, I'll maybe dispose of like a small, you know, a small grocery bag, plastic grocery bag of waste because of the level of sustainability that I have to live in order to live this lifestyle and live according to the way I feel is right for me. I mean, my I have a hard time with 9 to 5 jobs. I can't do them. I can't wake up in the mornings. I'm not a morning person. I like to wake up at 11 or noon. Uh, I'm a night person who likes to stay up in the evenings and in spots like this enjoy the the wee hours where there is no electricity buzzing, where there are no cars buzzing, where there are no people buzzing, where there is just quietude and some nature around me and the elements, the ocean. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of light pollution from all these cargo container ships here, but whatever. The fact is that the stars out here are way brighter than the rest of the city, and I like stargazing, and I don't know. There were so many things that my mind opened up to once I started adapting to this lifestyle. So many different social orders, if for lack of a better term. I mean, like, right now in Vancouver, there are tens of thousands of us that have lived in our vehicles throughout the winter here. I've seen them all around. Now that I've been doing this for a while, I see a lot of people doing this, and I mean, it has its hardships. Like when your home breaks down, it's your life on the line, because, well, it's your freedom on the line. And not only that, but if you break down in the wrong spot, you can get towed pretty quick. So you know, it's an issue, and you don't want your home taken away. So I mean, you know, there are a lot of hardships that go with having these beautiful wings of freedom. But in my experience, it's damn well worth it. And now that my van, now that good old Phoenix here is starting to become a more reliable vehicle, and I've tuned into her, like over the last year or so, I've really done a lot of repairs and fixing, and I've really done a lot of maintenance, and you know, like I've done a lot to this van. Like, I've given her open heart surgery. I'll be eventually sometime posting a video of how I actually separated the transmission and the engine, and replaced the flywheel and the starter, so that my van would start again without blowing starters. And so, I mean, like, I've replaced the water pump, which is tearing apart half the front of the engine. I'm about to have to replace the front main seal, which is going to be tearing apart a few things. So, anyways, the fact is that if I had the money, sure, I could pay mechanics to do this, but I'm saving quite a bit of money doing it on my own, and I'm learning the ins and outs of my van, so that if she breaks down on the road when I go traveling, because I am planning on traveling in her, not just staying in urban Vancouver, but eventually, you know, I'm gonna travel in her. I have done a couple travel trips. Like, I've gone off to not Edmonton. I've gone up to Athabasca, Alberta, and back in this already. And you know, there were some hardships on the way. I had to rewire some of the vacuum hoses and and stuff in here halfway up, because she was just using way too much fuel going up to Coquihalla. And so, I mean, like, she used like 4 times the amount of fuel that a regular vehicle uses on that trip. And so I knew after that trip there was some serious fixing I had to do to the engine before I could take her on another adventure across the country. Uh, you know, so I've stayed urban Vancouver for a long time now. I've been mainly urban Vancouver for the whole time I've owned her now, and and life just gets better the more I adapt to this lifestyle, and the more I wrap my head around what I've got here. Um, like, the living gets easier, and and life does get more loving the further down this rabbit hole that I go. And you'll see me complaining about a lot of, you know, public harassment and stuff like that. But I mean, I think it's mainly jealousy. People see me doing something that's just completely out of the ordinary, completely out of the box. And and one of the main things you'll hear from most people is, well, then if you don't like what we're doing here, go somewhere else. You can just go somewhere else. And it, you know, to my deep loving heart, it just feels like people are rejecting me and telling me to go somewhere else because they're afraid of me, even though I've done absolutely nothing in, to make them afraid of me, and I've done everything in my power to try and respect the places that I'm in. And you know, that hurts. It's rejection. But I mean, at the same time, eh, I've been wrapping my head around the idea that maybe these people are actually pretty envious and jealous in the fact that I can go anywhere I want, that I can enjoy these beautiful views. I mean, I don't just wake up at the beach. I wake up uh, next to parks. I wake up next to duck ponds. I wake up other next to other beaches. I wake up on riversides. I wake up in all sorts of places. It just depends where I gotta be in the day and what's around, and oh, have I checked out this view yet? Or, like, I like this neighborhood when I'm going over here, and I like this place. There are a lot of places I'll be showing you that I like to be because they're just so beautiful. There's so many beautiful places just around Vancouver. It's like I'm traveling, but staying in the city at the same time. So, I mean, I mean, yeah. So I'll be showing you the ins and outs of urban van dwelling in the big city, and I'll be showing you some ins and outs to do it yourself repairs and stuff like that, and I'll be showing you some life hacks, and living sustainably, and hopefully we'll all grow to love a little bit more in this whole thing. So for now, that's my story. That's the beginning of my story, and I'll share some more as time goes by.